Good morning children, welcome to the class of science. Today we will be talking about the last part of our chapter number 2, that is microorganisms front and foe. The last part is nitrogen fixation. So children, let's get started to nitrogen fixation. The amount of nitrogen present in the atmosphere is 78%. This atmospheric nitrogen cannot be directly utilized by the plants. Hence, there are some bacteria like rhizobium and cyanobacteria. They take the nitrogen from the soil and they pass it to the plant. Now, how do the nitrogen which is present in the soil comes to the soil? It comes during the process of rain, thundering. Thundering and rain causes the atmospheric nitrogen to come into rainwater, and from rainwater it is transferred to the soil. So in this way the atmospheric nitrogen is then given out in the soil. Now there are certain bacteria which convert this nitrogen into certain simpler form that the plants take in. Actually, the taking in part of the nitrogen is totally done by the organism itself. So this nitrogen is being taken by these organisms and they convert it into simpler form and then pass it to the plant. Then the plants start preparing their food, they store their food. The compound which is prepared from nitrogen is protein. These protein molecules are then taken by the plant for their growth and survival. So in this way plants take in. Then now I am explaining you the actual cycle of nitrogen fixation. Atmospheric nitrogen through thundering and rain comes into the soil. The nitrogen in the soil is absorbed by these microorganisms like rhizobium bacteria. It is then converted into simpler forms and then passed to the plant. The plant uses this nitrogen for preparation of protein molecules and the plant survives. Now when the plant dies, there are remains of the plant which get decomposed, isn't it? So the decomposition tells that there is also decomposition of the protein molecules. Again, these protein molecules get converted into nitrogenous compounds and they are released in the soil. So there are certain other decomposers present in the soil which actually decomposes the dead and decayed remains of plants and animals. Again, this nitrogen is released in the atmosphere, and in this way a balance is maintained in the atmosphere in the amount, that is nitrogen contained in the atmosphere is maintained in this way. So what are the steps in the nitrogen cycle? Atmospheric nitrogen comes to the soil through thundering and rain. It is then absorbed by the certain bacteria like rhizobium and cyanobacteria. This absorbed nitrogen is passed to the plants. Now plants who depend on the plants for their survival, we animals. Animals eat the plants. Now plant has prepared a protein molecule from nitrogen. Then animals will also have this protein molecule in them. After the death of plant and animal, the remains are decomposed in the soil with certain other organisms which are called as decomposers. They actually decompose the protein molecules which are rich in nitrogen and releases the nitrogen in the soil again. And this is further converted into gaseous state, and in this way the nitrogen is again released into the atmosphere, and this cycle continues throughout the lifetime. So in this way there is a constant proportion maintained in the atmosphere of nitrogen. So nitrogen content is maintained constantly through this cycle, and nitrogen cycle plays an important role for the survival of the plants, for the animals, and even we humans. So children, this was all about the nitrogen cycle. I hope you have understood it well. Thank you so much. This is the end of the topic microorganisms, friend and foe. I hope children you have understood it well. Thank you so much. Stay home, stay safe.